So basically, I was talking about importance of this subject and how basically we are, trying to internalize the steps that we are learning. So that's all about a kind of introduction to syllabus, introduction to subject, introduction to the methodology, and introduction ourselves. So before moving to the formal session 1, any questions, any suggestions, any feedbacks from you all? So it could be something you can straight away speak up, or you can put a kind of a message to me. So how far that what we have done is okay with you, it's comfortable with you, so that we can start sessions accordingly. Any thoughts? How do you think about the subject? Could be interesting or could be boring? How do you think? Would you think it could be useful? Then for exam purposes, I mean, would be useful for your day-to-day workplace application? How do you think? Any thoughts? The first place, would you think this is a kind of important subject? Having listened to the introduction, how do you think? Amila, how do you think? Will it be useful? It's too early to tell, or what, Amila?
Yes, from the first class itself, I can say it's going to be interesting because it touches the normal, I mean, in the general context. Also, as you talk about GDP and housing loan credit portfolio, so it's going to be interesting.
Right.
That's the way I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your candid feedback. Let's see how well that we can make this subject interesting, because as I was always telling, I mean, this is a kind of difficult method of learning, where try to do a kind of online. So you can't I can't see you, but you can see me, but I don't know your expression sort of thing, so whether you are 100% getting or not. But don't make that as a kind of a stumbling block. Whenever you have issue, please speak up or send me a kind of a text message and say that I'm not comfortable, I'm not 100% with you, I have different version of this. So just share it. So then we will try to make it more interactive and more useful session going forward. So having said that, so now I am moving to session 1. That's introduction to lending, introduction to project lending, and types of lending that we come across under the first syllabus area, where we try to understand nature, importance of these project concept, rationale, try to define, and types of lending categories. And then we see collateral based versus the project based finance, the kind of a contrast between collateral versus the project. Right. So when you come to the nature, this is all about a project financing, project appraisal, or rather a project. So how you understand, identify, this is basically talks about the nature of the project. So first, before I'm going to talk about the nature, I'll take 2 examples. Say now customer coming and asking, say loan to purchase what do you call, say, machine, say lathe machine. compared to a customer coming and asking a loan to build a hotel. Because I'm taking the hotel example, since that we have discussed some points relevant to the hotel project when we discuss in the syllabus. So one customer wanted to take a loan to put up a, say, 4-star hotel. Then another customer wanted to take a loan to purchase a lathe machine to his factory, or maybe whatever his workshop. So 2 customer requests, 2 loan requests. So one could fit into the project concept. We'll see when we are discussing the nature of these 2 projects, customer request, you'll understand what shows the project qualities, project financing qualities, project appraisal qualities. It's a long term, a short term. Out of these 2, what is like more short term oriented lending? What is like more long term oriented lending? Hotel is a long term investment, because you can't put up a hotel in day 1, day 2, day 3 and asking, people to come and stay. Obviously, it needs like maybe 1 year to complete the hotel, another 3 to 6 months to have market it, and then the occupancy could be increased from 30-40% to 60-70 off season, on season, like that. But in the case of a lathe machine, you just ask a loan, maybe 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. You give it to a supplier, seller, and then they will fix it. Within a week, within 2 weeks, you start it operation and get the income through that also. So in a project, the nature is like long term compared to short term. Larger investment versus a smaller investment. In these 2 examples, maybe 2 million, 3 million, 5 million is the lathe machine cost. But a hotel, it could be 100, 150, 200 million, depending on the number of rooms, a number of luxurious items that you are planning to bring, infrastructure that you are going to propose. So it depends on that. It's a large investment compared to small investment. More complicated from concerns of future cash flows. What is that? Now, in terms of lathe machine, you are very much not worried about future cash flows, because right now in the workshop we are generating some cash. So having introduced this lathe, yes, obviously it will increase some your future income, but it's not a big deal, because even a 5 million loan could be serviced through existing income. It's not a big deal for you. But in terms of hotel, you can't service a hotel loan, maybe 200 million loan, out of your pocket through existing income. It should be from the hotel itself. That should generate adequate income to service your debt. If not, it's not a viable proposition. And then time value of money. What is that? Time value. So we will discuss the concept time value of money in detail under session 7, I suppose. But in the meantime, what is time value? So value of the money is differ from time to time. Basically, 100 rupees today is not similarly worth in 100 rupees in year 1, year 2, year 3. So in terms of this proposition, you say 200 million investment to put up a hotel, and you get that 200 million back in 10 years time. Year 1, year 2, year 3, like so. It's a stepping up repayment. So you need to worry about that also, right? So in terms of future cash flows, in terms of time value of money, you need to be worried because amount is high and it spreads around across number of years in terms of hotel. But in terms of a machine, maybe 2-year lifespan. Payback is 2 years. Nothing to worry. So 3 million, 5 million, but 5 to 6 months that you can, get the money back you have already invested. I mean, not a big deal for about time value, because 3 million, 5 million loan you are talking about. Because you are realizing that 5 million in very quicker period. Because with that, several orders, so you may be able to do it. Even after 3 years, 2 years, you can sell that to somebody else and get that some disposal income also, which offset you all, cost and whatever expenses related to the machine. So basically, here I want to talk about the nature. That's about long-term to short-term, larger to small investment, complexity in terms of cash flows, complexity in terms of time value. So nature. So when you see this long-term, larger, complication in terms of future cash flows and time value, then it will have some project qualities, like a hotel, like a ramen factory, like an apartment, as against just purchasing a land, purchasing a machine, purchasing a vehicle, working capital facility. So you see, based on that and based on this, different natures, you understand this is a project, this is not a project. This is all about a nature in terms of identification, project. Hope you have got it. If any question, please let me know, and then we will explain it again. Then again, we need to know about the importance. We now know nature. We need to understand the importance of this project financing. Large amount of resources are often involved. In terms of hotel, you talk about land development, people skill, other resources. I mean, a lot of resources incurring a bigger amount of money often involved, as against the lathe machine project. Business strategy, profitability, survival, those are different in terms of the project to non-project. Because business strategy is something you are putting up a hotel, say in Kalpiti. It's a strategy of in a bigger perspective of your company. The profitability is very important, because why I am going to Kalpiti? Because I want to make profits to my group. Even survival. If I am unable to reach there, so I might not be able to continue with this my hotel chain, because I need to be present there. Because otherwise competitors would come there and then I don't have a market there. When my customers, tourists come, they won't, some of them won't like, Kalpiti and those type of beaches and the surroundings and the environment. If I don't have it, so I don't lose that, I don't capture that market. It's a survival, profitability, strategy. So, I mean, very high level initiatives, high level thoughts, very important. Difficult to bail out once an investment made. What it tells, say you purchase a land, development, and then you start it, maybe foundation, piling and all that, to put up this 4-story, 50-room hotel. Say halfway through, you do it, and then you can't say, no, I am not going to do this. No, it's not possible. Because huge investment. And nobody would come and, put up a factory there now. It's intended to build a hotel. Now you need another investor, a shareholder, interested person who wanted to put up a hotel there. I mean, investment is high in terms of time, in terms of resources, money, effort, and everything. So that's why we say important. So when you talk about projects, you need to have a different nature. And importance also is differ project to non-project. So why I want to talk about this is, sometimes for exam purposes, they might ask about, write a short note on features of a project. How do you understand a project? What is project financing? Describe our nature and importance of the project. So maybe 5 marks question. There may be so many other things also you can add here, but I just want to give 3-4 points here. When you are further learning, you will add more and more into this. That's why I was telling at the beginning, this is a foundation. So with that, so we build on those things. And whenever you learn, future things, so you can add and, strengthen this foundation. But you need to have this. Then right, when you talk about project, cash flows, time value, short-term, long-term, complexity, investments. So you will hear in those words in future also. But good to know our base, our foundation. Then we need to know about some definitions, formal definitions. There may be a couple of definitions if you refer textbooks. So we will go through 2 or 3 points here, which gives you different insights, understanding of project financing. Could be useful to understand the formal definition. So it says, long-term financing of infrastructure and industrial projects based upon the projected cash flows of the project than the balance sheet of the project sponsors. 2 or 3 points that we can identify here. Long-term financing. Remember, nature also we talk about long-term. So project financing, it's not for short-term. It is for long-term financing of industrial projects, infrastructure projects. That means the bigger ventures in terms of complexity, amount, implementation, resourcing, time, value, so many things. So long-term financing is one. And then once you're given, we need to think about the repayment also. When you think about the repayment, then the repayment comes not through the balance sheet of the sponsors, but the cash flows of the project. That's why I was talking about the hotel. You put up, you start the operations, then you expect income to come. We can't ask the sponsor because he is a rich person and he has some different income sources. But we can't depend on that to service a hotel project. The hotel should itself generate the funds to settle the loan. That is the beauty of the project financing. If it is not happening, it's failure. If it's not happening, what it means is the financial feasibility we heard about under the syllabus. One of the viabilities, financial viability is not taking place now. Viability should be there. Financial viability is there to service your debt. So long-term financing of infrastructure industrial projects based on the projected cash flows, not the balance sheet of the sponsors. That's how you define the project financing. Number 2, project loans secured by project assets. What it tells. Say if you want to purchase a lathe machine, you go to a bank and you say that I want 5 million. And then the bank would give you 5 million against a different collateral. Maybe existing collateral, which you have already mortgaged to the bank. And the bank would say, yes, I get a further mortgage. No harm. That's it. I don't want the mortgage or lathe machine. Or I'm not interested in leasing, getting the absolute ownership of the machine. I don't want the project assets in terms, if we think that lease is a lathe machine is the project. No, I don't want that. In terms of hotel, can you do that? No. I insist hotel property should be a mortgage to me because high value. With your investment, your loan and customer investment, the value of the hotel goes up. Initially, there is a bare land. Now, after four-star hotel comes, the value of the property goes up. So you need to have a security against that. That's what say secured against the project assets, right? And then say entirely from project cash flows, which we have discussed about, than from the general assets or creditworthiness of the project sponsors. That's again a repetition of that. Say balance sheet is not the way forward, way out for me. Project cash flows is the way out. You engage, you secured against project assets, another feature. Last one. Lenders given a lien on all these assets or security on these assets and able to assume control of the project if the project company has difficulties complying with the loan terms. What it says now, hotel, you mortgage, right? And you put terms and condition, and you are monitoring that implementation and everything. But if they are unable to complete the hotel, halfway through you see that in a difficulty, then it's your responsibility to take over, to find another investor, to support, run parallelly with the sponsor to complete this, to see the end of this. And the repayment commence, because it's big, it's huge, it's complex. You can't say 200 million, if they are not going to do, I'm going to take a mortgage and auction. No, it's not possible. Very difficult. So that's what we basically talk about. Project financing. Again, I am telling so many definitions, but here I have given 1 or 2 or 3 where you can get a couple of insights into that, and you can develop your own definition. Write a kind of say a definition if required for exam purposes. If not, these are some kind of qualities, features of project. Long-term infrastructure industrial projects based on the projected cash flows secured by the project assets. Bankers has the control over the project operations, right? And then we not depend on the creditworthiness of the borrower or the balance sheet of the borrower, are some features of the project financing. Hope you have understand the definitions. Any questions? Any questions? You can put a question if you are in difficulty. Any questions? Okay, let's move on. Let me know if anything that you need additional or maybe kind of feedback. Then we talk about the basic categories, because the rest of it actually we'll be discussing in several other sessions, but I want to highlight these few things as a foundation, as the base. So I have planned to discuss 3 basic categories of lending: asset-based, cash flow-based lending, project-based lending. So there may be some other also, like fee-based lending. So you can identify different lending methodologies. But here, for us, our understanding, I have taken 3 different categories of lending. Right. What is asset base? Basically, loan granted based on the value of the property. Right. So determining income as source of repayment is of secondary importance. Timing based on agreed period, then the period of cash flows. Example, gold loans. What are those? Say customer coming to you and asking, I want some money against my gold securities. It could be pawning, it could be gold loan, it could be even cashback loan. Right now, customer coming and asking, I want say 2 million loan. So this I have 3 million deposit. I have kind of gold sub-rings, bangles, chains. So keep it as a security, give me money. Now, what do you think? Are you asking from the particular borrower, how are you going to pay this? What is your timing of cash flows? What is the intent and purpose? So are you asking all these questions or not? What do you think? Can forum answer me? Are we asking those or are we not? Say gold loan, cashback loan. Or even if you're asking, are those primary questions of you? Or you just say, right, I have say 2 million deposit, so 90% against that. So I will give you as a OD. I'll give you as a 1-year term loan. Why gold based on the caratage, say 70%, 75%. So this is my discount rate. So I will give the money over the counter. So is it the process or asking keep on questions about timing, when you are going to have it? Can I show you statements? What is the purpose? Are you going to use this cash against this? So are we asking those questions? You can answer. Any thoughts? You can put your views through chat if you're unable to speak up. Any thoughts? Please have your views. It's good that because it should be interactive. So then you also get what I am exactly pitching. You need to understand that. We are trying to discuss about asset-based lending. So Kalani, what is your thinking behind that? Cashback loan, gold loan, pawning? Are we asking, the questions I just mentioned? Roshani, what do you think? Yeah, we don't ask about cash inflows. Why is that? Basically, because we have a presumption saying we have asset, we have a collateral. In case of a default, we can realize our debt against that collateral. I am not going to say this is every time correct, but we have that product in the market. And if we are trying to asking so many questions, the customer may not be coming next time, or even for the particular advance. He might insist others not to go and meet this officer because he is harassing me. That's the impression from the customer's perspective. So I have cash, right? I have given whatever all the documents to prove the KIC kind of thing, KYC and all that. But you can't ask me the repayment, tenor, when I'm going to repay, source, the purpose and all that. So I'm not, ready to answer. That's how the customers feel that. Why? Because these are asset-backed, collateral-based lending. So that's why we are not very much worried about that. But you can ask, 1 or 2 questions just to inquire. But it's not a hard and fast rule to assess the customer under collateral-based lending. And why we say the collateral-based lending? Because these are advantages, disadvantages. When you see this, you also further understand that because we are very much comfortable with the asset, realization of the asset, quality of the asset. In case of a default, we can go and realize that. Advantages, lending appears less risky. Why? Against collateral, you are having adequate margin. Loan based on value of the property, easy to determine. Say, manager can decide. Owning officer can decide. Operations manager can decide against cashback. We know 90% against this. FDs, minor deposits, central bank securities, we know exactly how much we need to give. It's very easy. Yeah, show the document, against that we will give. Very easy turnaround time. Advantages. Other disadvantages. Loan size does not, not based on borrower's repayment capacity. Very important. Now, you have some gold securities which you inherited from your parents also, and you go to the bank and say, I want 700,000 as against 1 million worth gold securities. You are not establishing the repayment capacity of that particular borrower because this is against gold. So that could be risky. Why? When it comes to realization, they don't have 700,000 to repay. You can repone, you can extend, so many things you can do because there is a collateral, but there's a risk for that. The repayment, we never know how they are going to do that. Even purpose we have not checked. Yeah, he has invested in them. And after 1 year, after 3 months, after 6 months, borrower is supposed to pay. Now they don't have that. Source of settlement. One question. Repayment schedule not based off client's cash flows because you can't think about that. You can't set that. You can't ask that. Customer will not support on that. You'll say 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. That's about gold loans. After 1 year, that's about pawning, cashback, POD, 1 year review. So that's it. But we don't know that, how the customer cash flows are coming because we are unable to question because it's asset back. Third one, value of the property could fluctuate. Say, suppose you try to give a kind of an OD against a high valuable land property, but value could be changed due to subsequent developments. Maybe initially, yes, 10 purchase land, 5 million worth, you give 1 million, you give 2 million OD because I have 3 times asset cover, 2.5 times asset cover. But subsequently, maybe road developments, now the 10 purchase has come down to 8 purchase. So they get compensation, that's a different story. But now 8 purchase, value not maybe 5 million sometimes. It could be go down. Vice versa possible. Could go up also. So which you have a better asset value, asset ratio. So asset-based lending is one of the lending types available, lending categories available, and could be advantages, disadvantages to the customer as well as a bank. Because we are not saying here, this is a very good proposition, this is a must, you need to do this. No, you can combine. When you say asset back, cash back, you may ask about why not you route your salary, right? So then you know the salary is coming, its repayment capacity, and those things also you measure. But it doesn't say, it doesn't limit your questioning capability. But we predominantly depend on asset value of the collateral. But you can ask questions depending on your relationship, right? So based on that, you can couple with other techniques here. But generally we say, when we say asset back, collateral base is totally against asset, you are going to lend. That's the first type of lending. And then we see the cash flow based lending. Another very common type of lending category available in the market. Basically, we talk about lending against present cash flows. Cash flows available in your vicinity. Easily identified cash flows. Example. Now, customer come in and telling you, I have some working capital requirement. I want some money, so I can repay in 3 months' time. So can you, consider giving me a working capital loan? So your question would be asking, what are your working capital composition? What is your stock level? What is your debt levels, debtors level? What is your creditors level? What is working capital terms of trade and all that. So you'll ask those questions. And possibly the customer would say, no, I have debtors. This is whatever my debtor aging, 15 day, 30 day, 45 days, 60 day, like that. So if you give me a loan, 3 months, I can give you some post-dated checks I obtained through my creditors, my dealers. So what basically meant is, against checks, you give money. Against checks, you give money. Then realization is based on the realization of these PDCs. So we know for sure, yeah, we have some asset. We have some assigned cash flows. Our loan, working capital loan, is going to repay against this check realization. It's a vicinity. You see this present current cash flows. Or rather, so you want to take a personal loan. You go to a bank and say, I am so and so, working at this bank. I am, say, manager. I am assistant manager. This is my salary for last 3 months salary slips. So do you mind giving me kind of some personal loan? So they would think about and say, yes, your current salary is this much, so I can give 4 times of this. This is the tenor, repayment interest is like this. So they would, give a kind of a loan to you. So they basically judge your present repayment capacity, present cash flows. Probably they don't think about your potential. Why? They don't think about your potential. If you go and tell them, I am manager, now I am going to become a senior manager with my next appraisal. So my present salary is 150,000. So with that grade, I am going to earn 200,000. Would you consider this 200,000 and give me a loan? No, they won't. Because cash flow based lending, to try to establish what is present, what is take home right now. And based on that, they advance you something. We call cash flow based lending. I mean, so many examples: micro loans, business loan, salary loans, working capital loans are cash flow based. And we see some advantages and disadvantages also there. What are the advantages? Because the cash flow related. It says default due to fund diversion minimize. What is that? It tells, now you give a loan against, say, checks, against factoring invoices, and going through your salary slips. So like that, minimal default, because intended purpose is clear in most cases compared to asset-backed loan. You know what purpose that you are going to invest this. There's a highly likelihood that you generate something out of the cash you invested, so you can repay back within a shorter period. Risk is minimum. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, even a personal loan, 4 years, because your employability, potential of employability, we could check. Those are advantages. Loan size, terms of repayment, based on borrower's cash flows. Now, not like earlier, not like asset-backed lending. Here, based on your salary only, they say, this is what we can approve. Loan amount, terms of repayment is based on your salary, your cash flow, present cash flow, the amount of the checks, the value of the checks you produce. So there's control. Another advantage is suited for short-term working capital. It's best 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 month category. Why? Intended use, intended repayment, ensured repayment. Method of repayment is ensured. These are advantages. And disadvantages also there. What are the disadvantages? A conservative loan sizes. What it means? Maybe, example we just discussed. You are a manager. Whatever the personal loan depends on your salary. You can't go beyond that. It's a conservative loan size. You are a micro entrepreneur, micro enterprise. When you go to bank, they say, so I last 1 year, I am generating monthly of this much. So then I will give this much. I am not going to see your potential. Right now you earn 100,000, so maybe loan could be 2.5 times 250,000 for 3 months for your working capital. But I must say that I have the potential to generate 200,000 next month onwards if you give this. No, bank would not look into that alternative under this basis of lending. Yes, there is another method for that. We'll discuss in little while. But under cash flow based lending, yes, you could not. So conservative initially could work against low income clients. And the example could continue. Low income, so they can't show this. A potential income generation they can't. Because right now they are generating, this. The bank would look into only that, the present day cash flows, current cash flows. Third one, not the best tool for determining loan requirement of projects needing capital expenditure or long-term investments. Here, it's not the best tool for bigger loans, project loans, capital expenditure, long-term investment. Because why? This is more or less short-term. You look current cash flows. Your loan is based on that. Then if I won't say a longer tenor or capital investment, a future potential business, unable to judge you on those requirements. So hence, we are unable to give you those loans under cash flow base. This is basically an issue that you would see under the cash flow base lending. Any thoughts? Any idea? Area of further clarification. So far, we have discussed up 2 methods of lending, that is asset-based lending and cash flow-based lending. Any questions? Any thoughts? We have a couple of people joined later also. Now we have 16 in number. So those who joined later, actually, you can go through, the presentation. So we discuss about syllabus upfront, and also we get an idea about the way forward of how we conduct lessons, and what my contribution and what I am expected from you part. And then I have also shared a kind of reading material where you can read through that, which comprises several things that I want to discuss today about project life cycle and all those things. You can read through, and if you do have any questions, that you can raise it next time so that we can discuss that as well. So in the meantime, we discuss about in general what are the nature, importance of the project, and also we discuss about definitions of the project. And then right now we are discussing about lending categories where we find in common in the market, and we have done two, like asset-based and the cash flow-based lending. Any thoughts, any questions, any clarifications, and any feedback before we move to the project-based lending? Are you okay with what we have discussed so far? Amila, you are going to say something?
Yes. For cash
Amila, I can't hear you.
Can you please tell some examples on that?
Amila, I can't hear you.
Cash-based lending, sir. Can you?
Just hold on. Right now, speak up, Amila. I am not.
Yes, sir. For cash-based lending, sir, can you please tell some examples as like personal loans? Is personal loans coming under cash-based lending, and
Right.
education loans?
Yes, Amila. Now what happens is, now generally Now, when you think about personal loans, like, education, even to when you talk about unsecured type of lending, yes, we can categorize them as the cash flow based lending. Why? Because, yeah, we in generally we will assess the individual's payment capacity, right? If you take about, say, housing, it's a bit different because it could generally comes into the asset based type of lending because we worried about the asset there. But coming back to question, let's say personal loan, you will look into, say, what is the present cash flow, salary, present income that you are generating. So based on that, they will decide how much that we will advance you. But if I am frankly answering your question, in general, we not only look the features of cash flow based lending, but also we look into other aspects as well. Like when, say, individual comes, we say last 3 months salary, but again we will look into what is like, his employability, his qualification. So his risk could be assessed differently as well, right? So let's say if you are into, say, insurance, and maybe you are earning fixed plus the your what do you call maybe temporary income incentives, and then maybe adds up with 100,000, and you are not going to give 300,000 that particular individual because he may be earning or not earning due to seasonal effects. So probably you will see his employability, his qualifications, skills, and those things also look into. But in general, we say cash flow based lending is one of the features, or maybe the application that you can use for personal loans and the educational loans. Is that clear, Amila?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. What about others? Any questions? What are your experiences? Probably you might be, doing most of those things. How do you handle those things? Have you thought about these type of lending when you're assessing housing loan, when you're assessing working capital? Or we just do because it has been doing for about last 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, and before I'm coming to the branch, that is the process that we have adopted, so I'm doing that. Or is that the approach that you have been doing? Or you are thinking about, even right now you can think about. I mean, I am not going to say that we need to change it. So you need to see whether, like, you can have a hybrid application, asset based, cash flow based together, and you can take a call, because it gives kind of a more advantage to the bank. When you say you are going to do a housing loan, one can say, yeah, I am giving a land, then I want a loan. That may be the customer perspective. But again, you can say, yes, that's good, but we are giving 5 million or more. It's a bigger loan. So I want to see others as well. Maybe the purpose. You are building, you are constructing, you are outright purchasing, you do value addition or innovation. For that, I will approve a loan, but I am dispersing in stages because to ensure end use. That is coming on the cash flow, right? Then I want your salary to come here. Your employer should commit in writing the salary to be routed through my bank to ensure repayment. So you try to couple with asset and the cash flow. The customer asking 5 million, but again, I am looking for his salary particulars, whether he can service that, because in a housing, other than if you are renting out, it doesn't generate any adequate income. It has to be paid through your salary. See what's the debt to income in your salary, and then you decide. So sometimes you have to reject, where you try to couple with asset and the cash flow. Even educational loan, you refer, Amila, there again, you need not to give it on clean, on second basis. If they have a property, so you can have it as additional comfort. Then we see asset-backed lending part of that. While also you see the employability or maybe the capability of the student if they are directly asking, and do the degree, go to a job and pay your repayment, settle your debts. If possible, if there is a collateral, yes, you will happily take it. I'm going to tell you, it's like you should not stopping at saying this is cash flow, I'm not looking after the project, or I'm not looking after the property. Or this is property, I'm not very much worried about project lending or future cash flow, no, that's not. Theoretically, yes, you have, but practically you can combine for the betterment of banker as well as the borrower. You will have the commitment when the mortgage is with you, because there's a loyalty, obligation to pay when collateral is there. Also, you can limit the borrowing capacity of the individual when security is pledged with you. Because otherwise, if you are given it's unsecured, there is a unencumbered property, then somebody would come and give money. That's a trend in Sri Lanka, no? So you have a property, I give this much of money. Then you take the money and you don't know where to invest that. Okay. Then we move to the last part. Project-based lending. This is a bit of extension to the cash flow-based lending that we have, learned at the beginning also. Some features are here. This is something cash flow-based lending, but the difference is future expected, future cash flows, expected cash flows, forecasted cash flows, projected cash flows. Very important. Right? Collateral is secondary now. Yeah, collateral is good to have, but secondary. Most important is cash flow assignment. How much you are going to generate? Yes, project assets, it could be a comfort for you, but you are not predominantly dependent on the collateral now. Primary is a viability, because at the discussion of the syllabus also, we discuss about viability of the project. Viability is the key. Financial viability, management viability, technical, economical are very important. And so based on that, you will take a call. Now, let's say a similar example. Now, you are working to an organization and you want to take a project loan to put up, say, agricultural, say, farm or maybe nursery, because you see a potential there. And you would go to a bank and say, I'm so and so, I'm earning this much, but I want a kind of a loan to, say, put up maybe greenhouse or agricultural farm, nursery. Then you give, this is my project proposal, this is the plan, this is the total cost, this is, my, implementation plans, this is my income generation plan and all that. But if you go by your salary and based on that, say, I can give maximum now 1 million. But based on the project, now I can give 3 million. Why? Because it's the expected cash flow, the future cash flow, the potential of the project. Additional comfort could be your salary. In case, if you are unable to pay everything through the project, you can top up using this salary. When project-based, there is an advantage for entrepreneurs, enterprises, because the potential, now earlier cases also, it is say micro entrepreneur. He come and say that I want maybe 500,000 loan. Then bank would say, no, I can't give because right now we are generating this much. So maximum is 250. But then he argue again and say, no, I'm going to put this. I am using this money to, go for the new markets with new products, new territories. So then I get the money. So it is not allowed under cash flow. Present cash flow we are not generating, but when it comes to the future cash flow concept, yes, I will be able to give it. But in terms, I want 2 guarantees, 2% guarantees, or possibly kind of a mortgage or whatever you have, or me assignment of cash flows. Now it's critical. Say, I'm going to do a bit of enhanced agricultural this thing, and I'm going to supply this to Cargill, Skills, or whatever, and then the bank might insist. So you need to assign Keels, Cargill's, SLAF, cash flows to my bank. So based on that, so I can reduce your commitment because I am trying to capture, I'm trying to get hold of the cash flows. Otherwise, I'm in a risk because it is future. It's potential. We never know it could succeed, but viability will be checked. Economic and all those viabilities will be checked in other different checklists. So we'll be discuss those things in time to come. Right? So this is basically a very interesting area, project-based lending. So I wanted to complete or finish it with this because so we started kind of giving an idea about what is project-based, what is project financing, project appraisal, nature, importance, definitions. So you have some brief idea about a project appraisal, oriented lending, project financing kind of. So last is advantages and the disadvantages. So advantages. Repayment is based on future cash flows of the project. Repayment based on the future cash flow. Now remember, earlier version, asset base, we never think about the repayment. Repayment is basically realization of the assets. In a cash flow, repayment is realization of the present cash flow. Here, repayment, future cash flow. A big leap. Startup projects qualify. Very great idea. Poorest household can have access now. Because I'm coming with a startup. I don't have anything right now. This is to be materialized in future. So startup. I will contribute 50%. I want 50% of that cost to be financed by the bank. But it's the future. Now, if I don't have anything to prove you, and then bank would give money, no. But if the project concept, a viability concept, feasibility concept, futuristic concepts will qualify. Best suited for development projects programs. Earlier we say cash flow, working capital, good for that. But project financing, project appraisal is best suited for development projects, development programs. Those are the advantages. And what are the disadvantages? Highly prone to diversion of loan. What it means is now it's all about future. No, it's basically you have a kind of a set of documents for project proposal and all that, project plan, all that. So based on that only you provide financing. But there is a chance that a borrower could diversify, divert the money to different ventures. You need to have, so many controls to curtail that. You would do that. You can do that. To say that if there's a risk on that. Require extensive analysis on feasibility of the project. That is a difficulty. As I was telling you, we'll discuss in detail later. Because we need to have that skill. It's a project. That's what sometimes we identify in banks. We have a separate infrastructure department, project financing department, because they have different skills, expertise. You need to understand, identify, evaluate these projects. A feasibility study, a viability study, not like a general loan. Giving a loan against cash, giving a loan to purchase a land, giving a loan to put up a house, giving a loan to purchase a lathe machine, give a OD or working capital short-term loan. So it's not a big deal. But when it comes to the projects, it's different. Because we need to analyze different areas, feasibilities we were talking about. So for that, it's a disadvantage. Not everybody can do. That's why I was telling you at the initial stages that if you're interested, you can explore, peruse, development lending area, which will have a better career prospects in time to come. Even right now also, credit managements are highly demanded, and even when you have this skill included into that, will have a better prospects in terms of your employment or your banking career. Last one, highly vulnerable to various project risk. What is that? Because we were talking about success of the project is the feasibility, viability. And again, when you talk about risk attached to that also, there is a high vulnerability for the risk that could arise. I'll give one example. When you say a management, we will analyze the management feasibility, viability. We say for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, yes, we see this succession plan is there, management capabilities are there, no issues among the the directors and all that. So everything, so we will say this is and all that. But subsequently, developments can challenge that initial process. Let's say there may be issues in between the directors, shareholders. A diverse opinion could impact the project progress. So those are management risks that we can expect in future, all in future. So that could come and impact your project success, prepayment capability. So basically, there are some disadvantages that we can think about. So however, though that there are so many lending categories, type of lending, like I was telling you, fee-based lending is also another proposition that we can see, like letter of credit, bank guarantees and all that. So we give loans, facilities in order to attract fee to banks. That we call fee-based lending, right? Like that. So you can have so many type of lendings available. But important thing is we need to make sure our risk is minimized while supporting meeting customer requirement, though it's a project or not project. So when you are doing that, you can make combination of these lending types and offer which is best to bank, again best to customer. So that is the challenge we have. So what we have been discussing so far today is basically we try to understand the syllabus that we are trying to do next 4 to 5 months, and the things that each of you and myself as a team to be contributed to make maximum out of these lessons, especially under this online platform. Number 3, so we started the introduction to project financing, and also we discussed something related to type of or categories of lending. So next week we move to a different area where I'm planning to start with SME lending, and then I'm trying to complete the microfinancing. Finally, we'll go to the project financing, which is the larger component of our syllabus. So that's it for today. Before winding up, now it's up to you to discuss, have your feedback, anything that we need to clarify, or your feedback you can share for benefit of others, right? So any kind of suggestions, it's open for you. So we have 5-10 minutes to go. It's all for you. Any thoughts? How do you feel it? Like, though, do you feel difficulty in getting the concepts in the first day, or in not think as bigger difficulty in getting the things into your mind? So how do you feel it? Let me have your candid opinion, if so that I can make sure from the next week go as you suggested. So if not, I can carry in the same vein where, like put in a kind of presentation and discuss, like more interactive session. So next time that you may have a better platform, you can read through whatever that we have distributed, and then you are in a better situation also the reading material could be useful for today and the next week session as well. So any thoughts? Kalani, Malki, Himeshi, anything to tell? So I'll okay with today's session. Thanks, Tarindu, your feedback. What about others? Oshani, how do you see this? Roshika, are you in a kind of okay with what we discussed so far? Yeah, thank you, Kalani. Let me know if you do have any gray area, like Amila question. Not even today, but you can go through and go back to office and you have a chat with your colleagues, and then you come up with whatever your thoughts, because this is a new paradigm change for when you talk about in project financing. We see that project financing, project capital we discuss. Yeah, Himeshi. Yeah, thank you for your feedback again. Oshani, thank you for your feedback. Great, Roshika. Right. So let me think about new dimension in the project financing. So see that how best that we can couple with our general lending, right? So this could be in terms of SME, microfinancing, project financing. So wherever you talk about when you go to that the bank, and you need to upskill, right? With these facts, when you are talking about the manager, senior manager, and all that, so they should also know that you are coming with the kind of some sense, with facts. Right? Just don't tell something. You analyze it and you say, why not we do this kind of thing when you develop a project? So why don't you think these areas? So then they will see that your potential, right? And then thanks Dilanja, thanks Ritaran. Great, it's the first day. I know it's not very easy to put everything into one's mind, but with over maybe 4 to 5 months, I think, so we make a kind of very very consistent, sustainable sort of approach. So again, I'm telling, go back and read. Though we haven't done much today, but we discuss about detail in syllabus and the first session, because I don't want to put a lot of things in today's session because it's day 1. Maybe day 2, day 3, so we'll pick up our momentum. And then, right, so very happy to be with you today. And then, so we will meet in week's time. So we should stay safe for everybody. So again, we'll meet next week sharp at 8 o'clock. Right, thank you. Have a good week ahead.